Welcome, Sojourner Nation. Uh, this episode, we are going to talk about faith and works. A week or two ago, there was, I don't know why, but sometimes things just pop into your head. And it was something that made that faith and works that, I've heard of, I'm sure you have all your life, about faith and works. And it's like, you show me your faith and I'll show you my works, and faith without works is dead, and so on and so forth, and a lot of scriptures and everything else. But what the Holy Spirit did is he took me back to my childhood, which he does a lot of times. And it seems like lessons that we learned back then, we forget as adults. And one of the lessons was riding a bike. How many of us, when we went to go ride a bike for the first time, maybe we had training wheels, maybe but when we finally start to do it, Dad was on the back holding that bike and running behind us. I did the same thing with my kids, and you keep going, you go, okay, you can do it, you can do it. And, you know, Father's just encouraging you. And it's like, don't let go, don't let go, don't let go. You can't let go. Promise me you'll not let go. And in the beginning, the first few times you might not let go and you're running down the street for a bit and comes to that point where it's like, yeah, the father's gonna let go. And those of us that have had kids and gone through that, you know what it's like. And letting go, it's something you need to do. And I thought about that, and it's that faith in our Father that He has in us, that we can do it. But we're like, but I've never done it before. You've always held on to the bike. You've always kept me steady. And I know without it, I'm going to crash. Well, that's not always the case. It's like, oh, you wobble a bit and you go, and it's now, oh, and you're fine. And I think about when I did go through that process with my father, and it was several years later, I had a paper route that I did with my bike, and had the papers and everything else. And a thought came to me that was kind of silly, as thoughts do. What if I never allowed my father to let go of that bike? And what it would look like, me doing the papers on my bike with my father still running behind, holding onto the bike so I wouldn't fall. It's pretty crazy. Besides, I think my paper route would have lasted less than a day. That would have been it. But I moved on. I learned how to ride the bike. And now, back to the story of when I first learned to ride a bike. I asked him, don't let go, don't let go. And when he did, I crashed. I crashed pretty bad. Um, it was back in the day, and we had old bikes, and the pedals were worn off, so it was just kind of jagged metal. And I still have the scars on my knee that remind me that, yeah, I crashed that bike that first time and cut my knee, and so then from then on, I never rode my bike unless my dad was holding on. No, no, I still ended up going through the process again, and I learned to ride. Even though, you know, I might crash, I might have other things happen, But I had to rely on my father's faith in me. He knew that if he let go, that I'd be able to do it. Now, did he know I was going to crash? Sure. No, he didn't. But he knew that sometime, some way, somehow, he'd have to let go. That's the same with our Father in heaven. That how many times that it's like he needs to let go. He needs to step back. Because he's given you something to do that you need to do. And it'll seem like he's letting go. And in a sense, he is. But he's given you everything that you need to balance that bike, to push it forward. But you know what? You'll never gain that sense of balance being able to do that if he never lets go. That means trials. That means sometimes feeling like, wait, you said you wouldn't let go and you let go. He wants us to grow. He wants us to mature. And so we have to learn to let go. And in this process of what I'm doing with Sojourner Nation, I need him so desperately, and I don't want him to let go, but at the same time, I know that he wants me to move forward. He's given me the creativity. He's given me, the things to do. And he's given me the faith that he has in me for this. And I know in a sense he never lets any of us go, but in another sense he does. I want you to think about that. Think about times that, it seems like, well, wait, somebody else needs to do it for me. Somebody else needs to be there holding my bike. And it's like, it's time for you to ride. It's time for you to take your adventure that you can take. And sometimes those are by yourself. And who knows? Your father might be at the very end with an ice cream cone. Just saying. Have a good week. Love you guys. Thank you for subscribing, for taking the time to listen. And, reach out to me. I enjoy hearing comments and seeing them, and, to know that I am on the right track. But I'm going to push forward through this because it's what God has called me to do. And that's going to be one that we're going to talk about in the coming days, is calling. And think about that as I leave you today. What is your calling? Has it changed? Did you have a calling and now you're retired and, that's not your calling anymore? That's fine. Seasons change. We change. But what is the calling that God is leading you to now? What are you called to do? I don't think it's just wait and do nothing or just sit and enjoy yourself. I think there's a calling. Pray. ask, Lord, what do you want me to do? And he'll drop something in your heart. Blessings.